Talk with the Cowboy.
Welcome and thanks for riding with the Cowboy. Well, we got a lot to discuss tonight. We've got the Buccaneers playing the Steelers tomorrow night at Raymond James Stadium, or Friday night, the first preseason game of the 2023 campaign. A lot to discuss on the game and the players, some of the players on the team. We've been told Baker Mayfield will start this game against the Pittsburgh Steelers this week in Raymond James. And the Jet game next Friday night, Kyle Trask will get his shot at starting. But Kyle Trask, of course, will play this week after Mayfield. A lot of information coming out of One Buck Place. Pertinent information about what's transpiring around this team with only 3 preseason games before regular season starts against the Vikings up in Minnesota. What we have been told, and you've heard it here first on the Sports Talk with the Cowboy, Ryan Jensen, our all-pro center, has not been in pads taking contact with the one-on-one drills with the offense and the defense. He has not been doing it. He's been taking care of all the drills. There's no anything that's related as an injury on the report. Robert Hainsey, who played last year, has bulked up 12 to 14 pounds of pure muscle, they say, and doesn't even look like the same guy. And he's been taking the padded contact with the first-string defense as they run through their simulated games. So it's kind of ironic that he's not in pads. So if it comes Friday night and Robert Hainsey goes in there starting at center, I'm going to keep a good eye on Jensen as this camp progresses. I'm not saying he's injured. He's not on any injury report. I don't want to say everybody say, oh, Cowboy said he was injured. No, I didn't say he was injured. But he's not taking any physical contact drills like Hainsey. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Other than that, it's the same as we always had it. We have Worse out at left. We got the fielder up there at left guard. We got Jensen and we got Hainsey at center. Cody Hines, our rookie from North Dakota State, he's up at the right guard, and Luke Genicke's out at right tackle. So that's the same line, except for the center situation that we've discussed before. But remember, Robert Hainsey was there 17 weeks last year. Only game he didn't play was the playoff game we got beat by the Cowboys. So it's not like he's not had any game time. And he's bulked up. As far as controversy out in the field is concerned, is Darren Thompson, one of our receivers, is looking absolutely great. Palmer, the receiver we got from Nebraska, is looking fabulous. Our running backs are looking good. We're going to get a chance to see them on Friday night. And for all you real Buck fans that watch our program, watch these preseason games real close because there's only 3 of them. And I can't say it enough. You're going to see some of the players play. We've got a new offensive scheme with Dave Canales, offensive coordinator of the Bucs. He's going to let them play a little bit in his scheme to see what they can do and they can't do. He's not familiar with them like other, let's say, offensive coordinators that's been there quite a little bit of a while. So there's going to be a lot to watch for in the game other than the score. And as you know, it don't count. Nobody gets hurt. Everything's great. And we can get to see some of the schemes that we might see in regular season against Minnesota. And we're going to be able to see Mayfield and Trask. Now, the scoop is that Kyle Trask has improved, one of the great improvements of last year to this year. He's got a bounce as he steps back in that pocket. He bounces off that back foot. And some of the people that have been out at the game, practices on a regular basis have told me that it's Brady-esque, that bounce up off the foot. Not that he's Tom Brady. I didn't say he was Tom Brady. But that bounce, come back 3 step back, bounce off that back foot. And he's 6'5", and they say that 4 inches is, he's cautious compared to Baker. But that's just who Baker is. So we got a little competition going out there. I still think Mayfield's ahead. I still think Mayfield will start. But I think Kyle Trask will be there on the bench. And we can see what we will see. So we stay close to that game in Pittsburgh. No other major injuries to speak of. Shaquille Barrett's not in pads yet. Other than that, all players are out there practicing. Everybody, Vita Vea is practicing. Everybody's out there practicing. There's no major injuries as the shooting of this show tonight before the Pittsburgh Steelers game. And so we're just going to have to see what gives with the Steelers. Hope nobody gets hurt. Tune into that game. In other news, Purdy, the quarterback at the 49ers, is out there practicing, which is, like we said on this show before, remarkable that he's even out there. He's in a limited basis, but he's out there. We're going to see Sam Donald out there with the 49ers this weekend in games. All the teams will play this week, so we'll be able to see all the teams. and we'll be able to figure out what they're doing and some of the new players they've got, some of the new schemes they've got. And in the first few quarters, they're going to play the new schemes they're going to play that first game. They don't have any other chance to practice them. So you can trust and believe they're going to be out there ready. And in the first halves of all three of those games, it's going to be crucial for us to be able to kind of diagnose what teams are what. We know who the Super Bowl contenders are, and we know who the pretenders are and the contenders are. And we'll give you a list of that before the regular season kicks off, because a couple of players go down, God forbid, in preseason and get hurt. It changes the landscape just that quick. We'll keep you posted here at Sports Talk with the Cowboy, but as we will with the Ryan Jensen situation, you got inside information that you can't get almost anywhere else. And that's why you tune in to Sports Talk with the Cowboy, because we're on top of this this news weeks before, and we'll keep monitoring whether he gets in pads and starts being in contact, and maybe with the Jets game. We'll see if he even plays Friday night. Keep a good eye on Ryan Jensen on the sidelines, and here's what the quote-unquote general manager says about his injury or not participating in the game. So we'll keep you posted out here at Sports Talk with the Cowboy on all the NFL and all the games starting Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday, and one on Sunday afternoon. And now we're going to move on to the Tampa Bay Ray baseball team, and they beat the St. Louis Cardinals last night pretty handily, 5-2. But we have had some major developments in our pitching problems. We had Shane McClanahan, our great left-handed pitcher, 12 wins, 2 losses, great pitcher, superstar pitcher, one of the best there is, young guy. He's probably got Tommy John surgery to have to go through. That means the rest of this year is probably not going to happen for him, and possibly next year. So this is a tragic news we got just yesterday. He'd been hurt, put on the 15-day disabled list, but now they say that it could be bone fragments in his arm, Tommy John, or some other kind of surgery, but all of them are season-ending. Okay, so it's sad for Shane McClanahan. He was on a tear, and we needed him in this playoff World Series run. Lucky for us, the Rays went out and got the new pitcher from the Guardians, because he's sure a godsend, because now we've lost another starter. We still have Efren, and so, you know, we still have Glasnow, you know, so we'll be all right. We're going to try to use some other pitchers we got. Little, we've had him in as a reliever, and he's built up his repertoire now to go 4 or 5 innings. We're going to let him pitch a little bit. We're just going to have to patchwork it now because the trade down line's over. But right now we're 1.5 games back behind the Baltimore Orioles. We beat the Cardinals last night. We play them again tonight. This is a 3-game set. We like to take these games. They're at home. They would just come off the road, and but the Rays are where they need to be. They just got to continue to win. But it surely was a sad note to hear one of our ace left-handed pitcher out for the year. So we'll keep you posted on the Rays, and they're doing a fine job of putting it all together. They're hitting well. Everybody's doing good. Franco, everyone's well. We don't have any other major injuries, and hope we don't have any more. So now we're going to move on to NASCAR. And last week, Chris Butcher, number 17, Roush Kowalski Racing, won the Michigan 400 up in Brooklyn, Michigan. It was his second win in a row. He won at Richmond the week before, and now he won last week in Michigan. So that's 2 wins in a row for Chris Butcher, the number 17 car from Roush Kowalski Racing. Congratulations to Chris Butcher. This week they're in Indianapolis, in the road course area of Indianapolis. It's a road course race. We're going to see what happens. As I'm a Michael McDowell fan, as all you that watch the show know. And Michael McDowell had a terrible day last week in Michigan, come in 24th position. But he was re-signed along with his teammate Tom Gilliland for 2024, which is breaking news here tonight. Both Michael McDowell, the number 34, and Todd Gilliland, the number 38, Front Row Motorsports Fords, next year are under contract. So we don't have to worry about when the off-season comes where they're going to come right back into those cars. So that's got to be a relief in their minds to know that they can finish this year out and go into next year and have that year too. So that's what we got on NASCAR tonight. Well, now we're going to move on to our questions. And Fred wanted to know what I thought about the injury to Shane McClanahan. And Fred, I think personally that these pitchers used to be in the wind-up, and now they're in what they call the stretch, where they stretch out. They just throw the ball from that stretch. And I think it's like this, Fred. If you was in a car and you went 0 to 100 all the time, just 0 to 100, you're going to blow up the car. So I think myself personally, this is from Cowboy now, that the old time wind up, that they used to wind up with the leg and throw that ball, they had a lot less Tommy John problems. Now they make them stand out there and stretch towards home plate. They back up and throw one pitch right with that arm and try to throw it 100 mile an hour. After a while, something pops, and you've got a Tommy John surgery. So, Fred, that's what I think happened to Shane McClanahan. He had the Tommy John surgery in 2017. So this is the second Tommy John's. Some of them have three or four Tommy John surgeries in their career. But remember the old days, Sandy Koufax, Bob Gibson in those days. Wind up. They wound up, then they threw the ball. You don't see that kind of wind up anymore. But you see a lot more Tommy John surgeries. But that's just my opinion, Fred. So thank you for your question, and God bless you. The next question is from Alice, and she continues to ask about USF. And Alice, I know you love your Bulls, and the question tonight from you is, what about Western Kentucky and the chances of the Bulls winning their first game? It's going to be a tough game. Western Kentucky's a tough team up there. They're a good, little, hard playing, but I think they can be competitive in it, and they've got a good chance of winning it. And so I'm looking forward to University of South Florida football Labor Day weekend against Western Kentucky, and we'll keep you, Alice, here at Sports Talk of the Cowboy. We're going to keep you abreast of University of South Florida football. We've been asked about Warner and Weber. We're going to try to get their scores every week and keep them broadcasted right here. For your college football, we're going to try to cover a lot of teams. There's 100 Division I teams. That's a lot of teams. So we're going to try to centralize it here in Florida, the Gators, the Seminoles, the Canes, the Knights. But USF Bulls and Warner and Weber College right up here at Babson Park, Lake Wales, we're going to try to keep up with their football too here. And we will keep up for you, Alice, on USF. I think they got a good chance against Western Kentucky, but we'll just have to see. And the last question tonight is from Pat. And Pat wanted to know what I thought about how the Bucs have handled their pitching with so many of their starters going out. They started with 4 starters. They lost two of the four in the first month of the season, and since then they've lost a third. They've added a couple like Tyler Grasnos that has come up, and now that they got the new guy from the Guardians, I think they handle it wonderful. They've even got this little guy. He's a pitcher that had been in the reliever role. And when they had the bullpen day where they bring pitchers out of the bullpen and let them pitch the whole game instead of having a starter, quote unquote, on the rotation, he did so good there that they established him as a starter. So he's going to be a starter, not tonight's game against Cardinals, but the following game, which would be Thursday night. So we're going to watch his first start as a starter. And I think it's good. And they seem to work and mesh themselves when there's been a problem. They just turn right around and find a solution with their bullpen or down in Durham. So Cash Bradley coming back up, I'm sure, from Durham. So they're going to patchwork this out and get these pitching going, and the hitting's still good, and they're on track to make the playoffs, and that's the goal. God bless you for your question. DJX, what you got for me tonight?
Well, Cowboy, you know what it is. Let's get right off into it, buddy. All right. Steelers wide receiver. Clear waivers, revert to injury reserve. Steelers now.
Well, he got in the injured reserve. He cleared waivers. Nobody claimed him. Mm-hmm. And if they didn't claim him, he can get back on the roster, and that's what happened. They let one get by, and that happens all the time. One will get on waivers, and some will be smart enough to see him on waivers and snatch one every once in a while. But if they're not paying attention, they go right on back on the roster.
Go right on through. All right. Minka Fitzpatrick teaching Joey Porter Jr. the finer points of using his length.
That is a good teacher, a mentor for Joey Porter Jr. Mitchell Fitzpatrick, which is one of the greatest defensive backs up there in Pittsburgh. Yeah. And now Joey Porter Jr., which he's probably been raised around, as Joey Porter's daddy was a famous Steeler. He's going to teach him the tricks, and you got to know them tricks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what make the game work. All right. Sky Moore is playing faster in Chiefs offense.
Sky Moore is a talented receiver, and I think they want to try to make him the Tariq Hill, the poor man's Tariq Hill.
Interesting.
And he's got not as much speed, but he's running that same kind of a vertical crossing route.
Oh, okay.
And I think Mahomes tried to tag up with him, and it did tag up with him last year. But I think they saw something in that reminded them of Tyreek Hill, and I think that's why they're bringing him in there to do that. We can see him do that during these preseason games. I'm sure you'll look up with him.
Interesting. All right, let's go to the board. Go-to guy, Allen Robinson II, embraces mentoring young wide receivers.
I think it's great for Allen Robinson, any of these receivers, to try to mentor who's on your team. I mean, even though a lot of people say you don't want to give competitive, yeah, but you're a teammate.
Right.
And when you're a teammate, you try to get the player behind you or a young guy, the ability to go in for you if you're the starter and you're hurt, and the team win.
Definitely.
So that's what teamwork is. So God bless him for it. And I think they're going to learn something if they'll listen, and I'm sure they will.
Right. How good does the Miami Dolphins offense line need to be?
They need to be good enough to win the Eastern Division against the Bills, and the Jets are coming with Aaron Rodgers, and I think that they are that good. I think they've gotten some players over the last 2 years. They've drafted a couple players, and I think that everyone is going to be way surprised with the Miami Dolphins.
All right. Sounds good to me. My last final one. Is Baker Mayfield going to be the starter?
I still think he is. But I think he's got competition for real.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think that 5 inches, that 6'5" Trask, with confidence and quietness, is a lot different from Baker's rah-rah and then kind of how Baker is. It's the difference between night and day. I think Baker still has the edge because he took a team to the playoffs and has had winning seasons, even though he's had his days when he wasn't as good. But I still think Todd Bowles, the head coach, wants Baker. Between you and I think Jason Light, the general manager, wants Trask. So you heard it here from the Cowboy first. If you've got Trask, and if he is your starter, you've got this year and 2 more years under his rookie contract. You got Mayfield. He does good this year. He's only got a 1-year deal. He's coming to get the money.
Now, is this what Baker want to be?
I think he does. He told everybody he wants to be here. He likes this area. He likes the facility. He likes the coaching. He likes Dave Canales.
Okay.
He loves the sunshine.
All right.
It's a fresh start for him.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't want to be here 1 year. They offered me 1 year. I don't think he'll go anywhere if he does it great. I don't think he'll go anywhere. And Trask ain't going to go anywhere because Trask's under contract. He can't go nowhere for the next couple of years.
Okay.
That's 2 years after this year. That means this year plus 2 more. He's on the. So certainly, if you were the ownership, you'd want to get Trask as good as you could.
Right.
I mean, my God, man. I mean, you drafted him in the second round 2 years ago. He ain't never hit the field. You had a guy named Brady there.
Yeah.
He's supposed to have absorbed from Brady.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, sports talk with the Cowboy fans is he has absorbed that going in the pocket, bouncing off that back foot like Brady used to do. My people on the field say when they see it, it's kind of spooky.
But ain't that how Baker do it too? Don't
Baker
he get
does
off in the pocket?
He gets off, but he goes to the left or the right most of the time. He swings a lot.
Yeah.
Because he's shorter at 6'1". If he stands up there behind those 6'4", 6'5" linemen, he can't see over top of them.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a Mahomes. He's going to go to the left or the right most of the time. If he's not moving too much in the pocket, if we're defensive guys, we know Mayfield's not moving much. He probably ain't going to throw.
Right.
He's probably going to hand off or maybe try to hit a back out of the backfield.
Yeah.
If Mayfield's going to try to hit you on a slant or a vertical down that field, he might roll to the right or the left. Now, he's moving. Brady don't move. Trask's going to come straight back like Brady and bounce off that back foot, but he's 6'5" at a piece.
He can see.
He's 4.5 inches taller than Mayfield. Believe it or not, he can see. It does make a difference, as they say. We'll see.
They do.
We'll see.
They do. Well, that's what I got for you tonight.
Well, God bless you, DJX. And God bless each and every one of you out there that watch this show. Continue to support this show. Continue to send your questions. We've got a lot to go with this season getting underway. We've got the Rays. We've got the Bucs. We've got the college football going. Watch out for the kids. School starts in Florida here in our area tomorrow. Look out for your school buses. Look out for the children. Be aware of the traffic. Be aware of the speed limit signs around the schools. Look out for each other. Look out for everyone. We do need to look out for everyone. We need to live in a society that it's we, not me. That's the society in which we need to live in. And we need to we need to do that starting with these young kids and young adults that are out there tomorrow starting school in our area. So until next show, be kind to your neighbor. God bless you. Cowboy out.